Namaste everyone. Namaste everyone.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Shall we start? हमें अपने मन को हमेशा संतुलित रखना है। इसी में हमारा आत्मविकास समाया हुआ है। त्वयि मे सर्वं ओम आत्मनि मे त्वं ओम स्मारे स्मारे ओम चित्तं शामय शामय ओम स्मराणि सोऽहं ओम शान्तं चिन्मयम् ओम तटस्थं केवलम् ओम स्मराणि शुद्धम् ओम So last time we did Sutra 17, and in that we saw the siddhi of being able to understand the languages of all being or the sound produced by all beings. Now today we are moving to another siddhi, and now you'll find that different kind of siddhis are being talked about. So Sutra 18 we go to, and this Sutra 18 reads Sanskar Sakshatkarnat Purva Jati Jnanam. If we translate it in Hindi, संस्कार साक्षात करने पर पूर्व जन्म का ज्ञान होता है. In English translation, by the realization of latent impressions, knowledge of previous birth is acquired. Now, this is the supernormal happening, that one who is doing Samyama on Sanskar and he realizes that Sanskar, then he can acquire the knowledge of what he was in previous birth. Not only one birth, but it could be possible to acquire knowledge of many lives one has led earlier. So that is what Siddhi is. Now, before going into the discussion, we have to understand this sanskar, latency, latent impressions. So, what is this sanskar they are talking about in the sutra? So, these we have seen it, we have already discussed it. Many of you were there in the class when we discussed sutras 12, 13, 14, 15 of chapter 2. So there we had gone in great detail to understand what sanskaras are. So briefly I will recall it and briefly I will recap it. That sanskara is a impression which is, as a result of whatever we experience. Even now when we are here in this class, listening to certain things, thinking about certain things, whatever is going on in our mind, that will leave a sanskar. And that sanskar will be retained somewhere in our body-mind complex. Where it is retained, nobody can say. So, but impression will be definitely there. Sanskar will be definitely there. Now, here it is a very, very benign kind of experience we are going through. If we are intensely interested, maybe we'll have a deeper mental state of a very good concentration, good observation. But it could be, general way we are going through certain experience. So the more deeper observation, the more deeper concentration, the more deeper is the interest of the individual, the stronger the impression is created. And that way, if the stronger impression is created, then it becomes little easier to recall. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. Like, for example, if I ask you, what did you have for your breakfast? It will be very difficult to recall it because it is taken as something which is given. So we don't bother much about what we are eating in the breakfast. But if we pay attention, then immediately you will be able to recall. So if the attention is there, concentration is there, interest is there, then the impression will be gathered strongly and it will be recalled very easily. So this sanskar has got two aspects. One is the actual physical part of what is happening. For example, we have eaten the breakfast. So that is one physical part, physical activity being carried out. And exactly what did we feel at that time? What did we feel? What was the feeling tone at that time? That is also very, very important. So sanskar will have two aspects. One is the physical act of doing something or experiencing something, and what we feel as a result. So these two are the structural part of the sanskaras, and they are very important. Why they are important? Because once the impression is created, then it acquires some kind of power. Every sanskara we have, every latency we have, whatever we have experienced till now in our life, those impressions have got certain power, certain influence over us. And what is that influence? What is that power? These sanskaras can make us do what impressions we have already gathered. According to the sanskaras, we will tend to act. So sanskaras have got this force that they can make us act in a certain way. And that's why if certain activity is being done under the influence of sanskaras, then what is happening actually is we are not aware of that. We are bundle of our sanskaras. Today, the mannerism in which we speak, the way we habitually think, the way we habitually sit, walk, talk, think, everything we do, it is a result of sanskaras. We have gathered those sanskaras, that's why we are acting in certain manner. We are talking in certain manner. We are thinking in certain manner. We tend to react in a certain manner. All these reactions, actions are coming from these sanskaras. So now the question comes that if we are acting according to these sanskaras, how we can realize that which sanskara is responsible for this activity. So we may focus on a particular trait of our personality or a particular we can select a particular sanskara and we just go on contemplating on that and we do samyama on that. Then we come to know that when that sanskara was formed, what was the point of formation of the sanskara. And obviously, when you recall, you don't recall only the sanskara, you recall all the environment in which that sanskara took place. What were your feelings at that time? What was the occasion? Who was around? What were the circumstances? Where did it happen? What exactly was the context in which the sanskara took place? So all that will become available to conscious mind for understanding if we focus on this. That is the idea behind this sutra. Sutra says if you focus on this sanskara and do samyama, then you will be able to acquire knowledge of the past lives. Because now why they are saying it? Because the sanskaras are not only created in this life, but they are also created in previous lives. Because we may have certain personality traits. We are doing some things, we are thinking in certain way. But if you try to recall, in this life, nothing of that sort happened which will make you do that thing, which will make you think that manner, which will make you react in that manner. So you don't recall anything if you go through the experiences right from childhood. So many traits, personality traits, our habits, our value system, our thinking patterns, our behavior patterns are such that we fail to see their connection in the sanskaras we have accumulated in the present life. So that means there must have been some connection with the sanskara of previous kind. Because without sanskaras, these traits cannot come. See, understand this very clearly. Without sanskaras, we are not going to act in any automatic way. Whenever we are acting in automatic way, behind that is a sanskar. Behind that is some latency which is working. So if we fail to identify any latency of this life, then obviously we'll understand it is of some earlier birth, it is of some earlier times. So there is a transmigration of soul continuously. Person is dying, born again. So life process is going on. This is what yoga believes in. So they say that you will get this knowledge. And then, many instances are there where these kind of things are, talked about. One of the, now this sanskara is not directly available to conscious mind. Many of you might be psychology students, so you understand that when they are talking about subconscious latencies, subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is manyfold more stronger than conscious mind. The hold of subconscious mind on our behavior, our thinking is tremendous. So if you study Sigmund Freud, if you study analytical psychology of Carl Gustav Jung, and even later psychologists, if you study, see 150 years, last 150 years, this work was done where they talked about these subconscious minds and the conscious mind, that distinction. But imagine this sutra is 2500 years old. And Vyas Bhashya is almost 1800 years old. So that early they have talked about the process through which the sanskaras are formed and how recall of sanskara, realization of sanskara can be very, very helpful. Now this is something it was known to them 2500 years back, that sanskara can be worked upon. And now they are finding that in last 150 years, after Freud particularly, they talked about this subconscious latencies, subconscious mind and the role of subconscious mind. And a lot of great work has been done by Carl Gustav Jung, C.G. Jung, who says that subconscious is so powerful, and it is not only powerful in keeping us safe, but it is also predictive in nature. It has got access to everything. It can even tell us what is going to happen in future. That kind of power has been granted to subconscious mind by the by Carl Gustav Jung. So a lot of other works are also there, not a lot of, but we find that this principle is applied in psychoanalysis. This principle is applied in the analytical psychology. Whenever a person has got this abnormal behavior, then they try to find out from where it originated. And the process of reaching that sanskara, where this trait was taken up, or where this experience was connected to or formed latency, which is responsible for present behavior, they try to access that. So now same thing is being talked about here, but we will look at first from the point of view of yoga. So in Vyas Bhashya, they have given a very beautiful example how this knowledge of sanskaras can really have an impact on our present frame of mind, our present status of mind, our present behavior, our present thinking. It can change our entire outlook of looking at the world, of looking at people, of looking at even or looking at ourselves. It has got that kind of power over our minds. So that's why it is important sutra and important to understand what is the principle governing that. So from that perspective, Vyas Bhashya is giving a very beautiful example of great yogi. His name was Jaigishavya. Now there is a dialogue between two great yogis, Avatya and Jaigishavya, which has been recalled in Vyas Bhashya. Remember, Vyas Bhashya is 1800 years back. They are referring to Jaigishavya and Avatya. No other book has got this kind of references available. So this must have been very early literature in which these examples were given. So these examples are coming to us by way of Vyas Bhashya. So they are recalling it. So it says that Jaigishavya had realized all the sanskaras of his 10 life cycles. 10 life cycles means 4 sarg, jo cycle of world coming into existence and again merging into lay. Such 10 cycles he had experiences of all the births, and he realized all the sanskaras and he had knowledge of all the sanskaras. So Jagishabya is a great, that's why he was Jivan Mukta, he was a great yogi. In other works you may not find, but in yoga literature, Jagishabya, even Vyas Bhashya, at other places, Jagishabya name comes. So there's another sage Avatya who assumes a gross form of body, and he's interviewing Jagishev, and he's asking that you have got the experiences of all your past lives. Tell us which part of these lives, which part of these experiences during those lives you consider as very good, and which are bad. So Jagishev replies that you forget about being good and talking about good. What I found is all these experiences which I have gone through, they are all painful. I see them all as painful. That is what he says. So Avatya Rishi is really surprised. He says, how you say that? And now after having that kind of knowledge, we know that you are an evolved person and you are always contented. You are free from desires. You are in a Jivan Mukta state, you are liberated. So in such a frame of mind where you are totally satisfied, you are totally contented, you don't have any desire in your mind. How do you consider this state of contentment in comparison to your experiences of past lives? So he says definitely all the sukhas which were there in the past lives, so-called sukhas, santosha is better, contentment is desirelessness is better than that. But even this contentment which I am experiencing day in, day out, it is nothing in front of the liberation. It is nothing in front of the. So, according to me, even this santosha will be a painful state in comparison to liberation. See, this is the beautiful, conclusion he is drawing. Now look at Buddha. What Jagishev says, Buddha says in the first Arya Satya. What Buddha says, Buddha's talk begins, Buddha's philosophy begins with one simple sentence, Sarvam Dukkham. This is the essential message of Buddha. So Buddha says Sarvam Dukkham, and we know that like Jageshev here, Buddha also had experience of past lives. He could recall, he had knowledge of all his past lives. That is what is Buddhist belief. एंड दैट्स व्हाई यूल फाइंड जातक कथाएं, जो हम लोग कई लोग बचपन में हम लोगों ने पढ़ी भी रहेगी, बहुत सारी जातक कथाएं, जातका स्टोरीज एज दे आर कॉल्ड. They are depiction of Buddha's life in previous births. So sometimes he in animal form, sometimes he's a bird, sometimes he's another animal, and those stories are recalled, and Buddha is experiencing the life in those forms of life. So these are Jatak stories, and there also Buddha comes to the same conclusion. What Jaigishabya says, same thing Buddha also says. And both are the instances very famous in our mythology, in our history, that these were the characters, that these were the personalities who had knowledge of the past lives. And perhaps because they had the knowledge of the past life, their personalities became such. Like imagine what will be the Buddha's personality. If suddenly Buddha comes in front of us, what will be that state we will experience in front of him, or what we will see in him? So now, that is what is the impact of acquiring the knowledge which they are talking about. So one thing is that the moment we realize the past impression, we become free from its influence. That is the most important part. And that is the principle psychology applies. If you are facing some kind of difficulty at the behavioral level, say some strong trait of personality which is coming into the way of normal functioning and it is creating problems, then people may say that why don't you consult a psychiatrist? Why don't you consult a psychologist? Why don't you take therapy? So people go for therapy. And when we go for therapy, now the therapies again, there are different kind of psychological therapies in world available now. So out of that, psychoanalysis, analytical psychology, these are there. The cognitive therapy is there. There are other therapies. So the essential thing what they do is at least in analytical philosophy or psychology, what they do, they will try to understand. So if the personality trait is there, for example, if a person has got some very disturbing kind of attitude, they will try to understand when did it get formed. So they will try to find out that area when it took place, and it is supposed to be very very cathartic. It is supposed to be curing when a person is able to realize that okay, this is the time when this sanskara was formed. then person becomes free from the influence of that sanskara, and his behavior becomes normal. His thinking become normal. He becomes a normal person. That is the suggestion. So psychology is applying the same principle which is stated. That's why this sutra is important. This sutra is important because we have to understand. And why we have to understand what is the practical take on for us in this. We may be thinking we are normal, but we may also have certain personality traits which are really not allowing us to live a fulfilled life, live a happy life, live a life to full capacity. We are restricted. We are not living fully. So if that is the case, then we need to become aware that why these personality traits are there. First of all, most of the time people, we are not aware, as people, we are not aware that this is what is happening. So if we understand this sutra and if we try to apply it in our life, possibly we can unearth or we can detect, we can find out what is that sanskara which is restricting us from becoming free, from living a good life, from living a better life, from living a fulfilled life, from living a happy life. What is it which is preventing us? So this is the promise which is held in this sutra. This sutra is very, very important. From personally, if you ask me, I'll consider this sutra as very important from the personal growth point of view. Because we are the fact that we are meeting in the sutra class and discussing these sutras shows that we are interested in our growth. We are interested in our evolvement. We are interested in growing. We are interested in becoming better persons, capable persons, strong persons who can deal with life problems. All of us are interested in that. So if you are interested in that, then this sutra is very important to understand. Now, when we are talking about this, normally you will find, this I was thinking, I was categorizing what kind of people are there. Three kinds of people normally we come across in life. One is the people kind of persons who have got really mental illnesses. So it is very obvious they are, their capacities are very less. They are living a very restricted life and they require therapy. So various kinds of therapies I talked about. Now, what are these kind of people who are having mental illness? They may have a personality trait which is restricting their normal functioning and normal interacting with the society. So they are very afraid, maybe, or they are very aggressive, they are violent, they are antisocial, they are very destructive. They might be suffering from some neurosis, strong neurosis. We all are neurotics. We have certain amount of neurosis in all of us, but this their neurosis is very strong. So they are not able to function in a normal way. They might be psychotic. So various kinds of personality traits might be there, which will necessitate it to for them to go to a consultant, to a psychologist, to a therapist to get corrected. Unfortunately, we don't belong to that category. We belong to the another category, which we'll call normal category. But then believe me, normal is also not normal. Because although we pass as normal individuals, why? Because we also have negative traits in our personality. So many negative traits are there. But this range of normal people could be very wide. And various categories of people may fall. So if you have to find ourselves, we'll find that we are falling under the spectrum of what is known as normal behavior people. But even in this normal behavior people, there are different intensities, different levels. So in us also, there could be certain personality traits which are not allowing us to grow and evolve. One or two examples we will see. One example is that generally so-called normal people like us, we are very apprehensive. We are very afraid. We are not open to life experiences. When opportunities come, we are always hesitant to take them. We are hesitant, we are afraid, we are apprehensive, anxious. All the time anxieties are going on. Now, because we are able to manage these anxieties, we are able to manage these fears, we are able to manage these apprehensions, we pass as normal individuals. But if we look deeply in our personality, we'll find that how restricted we feel as a result of these negative emotions. And if you want to get rid of these negative emotions, what we have to do? We have to contemplate on why these negative traits came in me. When did they come? What did I do earlier in my childhood because of which I am behaving in this manner? Why I am so afraid? Why I am so fearful? Or if we are very aggressive, we are angry, we are holding lot of grudges, we are holding lot of resentment. People holding resentment grudges are abnormal, but they are considered to be normal because we all have that. So it's a normal behavior. But holding grudges, holding resentment, holding anger, this is not a very right thing because it is not allowing us to live fully. We may have relationship issue. We are not able to deal with other people in a very healthy manner, one to one. We are afraid of forming relationship, deeper relationship, meaningful relationship. This could be another. Most of the time, people are very restricted. They don't allow themselves to be open up to other people because they are afraid, because the fear is there. So now all these, although these are considered normal, but think, are they really normal? Is it not restricting factor which is not allowing us to live? And how long we are going to live? In that also we are so restricted. We are not allowing the full experience to come to us. So for the normal individual also, it is very important to understand his own personality. So this way one can really trace back what is there behind the behavior we have. And so many restricting factors are there. Whenever the opportunity comes, we are not able to take those opportunities because we are afraid, we are apprehensive, the anxieties are there. We have anxiety related to health, we have anxiety related to body, we have anxiety related to what others will think of us. So various factors are there. From that point of view, if we focus on certain sanskaras, now that will require certain amount of training. If you want to really grow, if you want to evolve in personality, then we have to be very open minded to understand how we are behaving. We have to become very aware. A part of yoga exercise, a part of yoga sadhana is to become mindful. A part of yoga sadhana is to understand what we are, how we are, how we are behaving, what we are thinking. So when we become aware of all this, then perhaps we will, when we are openly looking at ourselves objectively, we are subjective. No, everybody thinks I am smart. So when I think I am smart, there's no need to learn from anybody because I think I know everything. There will be no possibility for learning if I think that I am smart, if I think I know everything. So, but if I am objective, I understand there might be many things I do not know. A person who's taking you in rickshaw, a rickshaw wala might be having deeper insight in life about more than you. There's a possibility of this kind. More than me, he knows about life. There's a possibility. A taxi wala, or a bus conductor, or a bus driver, any person. But we are not open to this idea that we think that we are smart. So lots of such kind of negative wrong attitudes we live with, and that's why we remain isolated. We are not able to really grow fully. So if we become aware of all this, then this possibility opens up for us that we can really grow. But a lot of self-awareness and self-analysis is required in that. And as a yoga student, we need not go to any professionals because yoga tells us that if you become self-aware, if you are willing to work on yourself, you can grow. Now, nobody can stop your growth. So this sutra is about growth. This sutra is about empowerment. So we have to understand. Now we are afraid of darkness. Immediately we should think why I am afraid of darkness. If we try somewhere in childhood, some experience might have resulted in this kind of fear developing in personality. If we trace that back and then we try to rationalize, we try to think logically, and we say that it is ill-founded fear. And now I'll start going in darkness. I'll not be afraid of darkness. We can overcome a lot of limitations. So this fear of darkness is just an example. There could be many others. A lot of possibilities are there. So I'm just making you aware of this because whatever came to my mind, I just shared it with you. Because I see a lot of practical use of this particular sutra. Although all these are siddhi related sutras. So all these are siddhis, but then along with siddhis, there are certain scientific principles which are governing. And if we understand those principles, then we can definitely grow. We can become better persons. So little time is left now. If questions are there, we can discuss.
So you said three types of people. So
Yeah,
one
sir.
is the ones with mental
But
illness.
Yeah,
men.
just
Yeah,
a minute. Yeah, Ashish, yeah, speak.
yeah,
Ashish, you
yeah.
complete. Yeah,
So you're talking of three type of people. One with mental illness, one normal, and what's the
yeah.
third one?
The third one are the evolved persons, like Dr. Jaydev. Sorry, I did not mention that. People like Dr. Jaydev, people like so many, we meet so many people who are really evolved, and they are not, but they are living their life fully. They are living their life fully. They are not afraid of anything. They are not afraid of people. They are not afraid of situation. They deal with life very strongly. They live to the full extent. These are the self-actualizing people. These are the people who are moving towards self-realization. So this will be the third category. Most of us would fall under second category, unfortunately. Any more questions? Yeah, somebody was asking question when
Sir,
Ashish. Yeah, yeah.
so the same.
Yes.
So can I go ahead?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
So this was really a very enlightening sutra because we always think that सिद्धि से हम क्या करेंगे? It's very out there, non-attainable, but you just made it so practical कि हमारे डे टू डे लाइफ में भी हम ये कितना contemplate करके we can change ourselves,
Yes,
becoming aware of our deep sanskars that are actually becoming a hindrance in our growth.
yes.
And I think this is, can you just give us some steps in like basic steps that we can do to change, to become aware of our deep rooted impressions, and how do we go beyond them? How do we
Yeah.
go beyond our daily deep rooted habits that are not allowing us to grow?
So we will take one example of say people. When we meet people, sometimes we are finding it challenging to be able to form good relationship, healthy relationship. So if we come across this difficulty, then maybe definitely we can think on it, that why I am so afraid of it. When did it happen? So definitely some past experiences or some influences of parents, some influences of the very strong people in our personality, they might have suggested in our this suggestion must have been given, which we have deeply imbibed and deeply retained, that we should be afraid of strangers, or we should be very careful with people. No doubt we should be careful, but then it is coming into the way of forming good relationships. So this could be an example where we can think why I am doing it, what is it I'm afraid of, why I'm behaving in this manner. Then perhaps we will be able to understand that we have formed this, and then gradually we say that okay, I cancel it or I suppress it, and I will try to be more freer. So this way we can look for better experience, a deeper experience, more helpful experience. And that is for various kinds of fears we have, various kinds of inhibitions we have. Or we somebody, when we look at somebody, he's very happy, we immediately feel jealous, we immediately feel resentment, we immediately become sad that they are so happy, I am so unhappy. This is a major personality problem we have. Jealousy. Jealousy is a very common, and jealousy makes us unhappy. Jealousy makes us so unhappy that we are not able to enjoy what we have. So it is really very big obstacle. So many examples could be there. We can work on our personalities.
So, but like if you've heard of Gabor Mate, he talks about every adult experience and adult behavior, maybe an addiction, addictive behavior, it comes somewhere from the past, somewhere from your childhood, where that habit has been formed
Yeah,
at a very early age.
yeah,
So like those become so deep rooted that sometimes it literally is like there is absolutely no awareness when it's happening. The
absolutely.
body is automated, it just automatically happens, or we have no control over it.
Yeah, see, that is true
So,
of
so
trauma
how do
also.
you work on
That,
that?
that is
Yes.
that is true of lots of trauma. We all have traumas, and those traumas are guiding our behavior, our thinking. Even our body reacts to that unconsciously. Our body tends to act in a certain manner because of
Yes.
those traumas. But it is a deep work. One needs to do it. It's a worthwhile work. It is difficult, very difficult, because to develop that kind of awareness, it is really requires a lot of commitment, lot of self-awareness, constantly monitoring what we are thinking, how we are reacting. The moment new situation arise, if we are aware how we are reacting, that will give us a key, what lies behind that reaction. And that can really help us.
So I would like to say something.
Yeah, please say. But just one thing, that if the session gets over fast, then we can continue our discussions on the group also. You can raise questions there. It can be whole week, it can go on. Whatever doubts come in your mind, please feel free to put it on the group. Yeah, continue. Tell me. Yes.
So we come across a lot of people, like even in our own network, where they are not into yoga or some kind of spiritual path, but they're still very like you can say, like they were living in the moment. They don't get upset by small things. At least they don't take things too personally.
Yeah.
So and when we realize that we are actually taking things personally, or we are reacting to certain things, certain triggers, then why is it so? I mean, is it something that because they are not, I mean, they're just living life the way it's supposed to, and why we are not able to get that
No, it is
insight?
because of the sanskaras. It is because of the sanskaras. They have got those sanskaras. That's why they are so empowered. That's why they are so open. And we should consider ourselves fortunate that because we are in yoga now, we are questioning that why they are doing it, why I am not doing it. It's awareness. We are getting this awareness that somewhere I am going wrong, or somewhere I have to reach some other place, and I am at the wrong place. So this awareness itself, that I am at the wrong place, I need to move from here and go to a better state of mind, that itself is a big deal. So we should be